Good afternoon to you and welcome to Walsh Park here in Waterford City for the first game of the All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship that we're live streaming over the next number of weeks. My name is Killian Whelan and today we bring you Waterford against Down. What a game it promises to be. Down, of course, fresh from their intermediate victory last year and now hopping on through with Division 2 title and an Ulster Championship win as well. They are definitely on an upward curve. Coming here to take on a Waterford side, of course, who have knocked on the door in recent years at the knockout stages, but unfortunately for them things haven't been going well in the last couple of months with relegation from Division 1, but they might be resurgent here today. We wait and see as they welcome their Ulster visitors. We'll look at the teams in a moment, but for today's game I'm joined on analysis by Lauren Guilfoyle. Lauren, good to have you back.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be at a camogie match and to be out in this fantastic weather today. We couldn't really ask for a better day for it.
No, we couldn't really. The sunny southeast living up to its name.
Exactly.
It would say it's about 25 degrees with a right breeze coming down off the city here. So whoever, in fact, probably gets it, it'll be a cooling factor. But I think it's something that could be utilised by either team.
Oh, absolutely. Today, the heat is there. The fitness levels, I'm sure, are up there. But we haven't had that long extended pre-season that we would normally have, or that gap between the league and the championship. So fitness levels are really going to be tested today, so I think if any team can get benefit from a wind behind their backs, they'd absolutely be taking that today.
Looking at Waterford, Lauren, from what we've seen in recent years, I know we're going to hear from Derek Lyne shortly, and he mentions that obviously there's been one or two names have drifted away from the panel that we would have maybe known at the height of their standards when they were knocking into quarterfinals and maybe even touching on the semi-finals a few years ago. But they still have, a strong kind of central spine, a lot of key names. You can mention the Rockets and the Cartons, but you have the likes of Orla Hickey, Shauna Kern, Iona Heffernan. These names roll off the tongue when you mention Waterford Camogie.
Absolutely, and even we're forgetting Lorraine Bray there, who is an all-star camogie player, in the wing back line. And I suppose that team, while there has been some drop-offs, we have a kind of a huge central portion, I suppose, that are quite experienced at the highest level. I suppose we're looking back to kind of quarter-finals, semi-finals over the last couple of years, that maybe some of these Down players haven't experienced at that senior level, but they have experienced it at intermediate level, Division 2 level. So I suppose today it'll kind of be a case of who has picked up from the league kind of in a positive manner, hopefully from a Waterford perspective. Can Down continue, I suppose, their successful run? And I know last week they even beat Antrim in that Ulster final, so I suppose they're kind of hoping that momentum has followed them down here to the sunny southeast.
Looking at Waterford though for the minute, the league wasn't favourable to them, thrown into a group with Tipperary and Cork. You're meeting Tipperary in the second game when they've already had a game, and it really was hard for them, I would imagine, to build up momentum, then find themselves in a relegation playoff with Dublin, get caught on the line. Realistically, you'd be hoping, as Derek Lyne will mention in his interview coming up, slate is clean here today and that maybe they just forget about what happened a few weeks ago. I
think though what might work against them, and again hopefully will be remain to be seen here for the rest of the afternoon, but there hasn't been a significant gap between I suppose league, that relegation kind of period, I suppose, and then moving into the Munster Championship as well, where they suffered defeat there too. There hasn't been a big bunch of time, I suppose, to really kind of sit these players down, figure out what went wrong, rectify it, and kind of push on into championships. So I suppose that would be my worry, with my experience and kind of in different team setups, is that you need that bulk of time to kind of really figure out what went wrong and figure out that from kind of the team's perspective, not to just be kind of told what went wrong. Kind of, I suppose, address that from a team perspective here on the training pitch, and then actually bring that into challenge games. We don't have that this year. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they've managed to do that, if they have managed that at all.
Looking at Down, then they're probably and they're here behind us at the moment warming up. They're probably the little bit of a fairy tale of the camogie family of the last few years. We're in a dire situation maybe in 2018 in their league, changed their management, all of a sudden made an All-Ireland final, got to an All-Ireland semi-final the following year, and then make the breakthrough last year. And really their curve has just gone up and up and up. It's
such a statement of intent that they looked to get promoted to the senior championship this year. Obviously last year with the different changes that we had, it wasn't guaranteed, or it wasn't most definitely happening as a result of second teams not being involved in that championship. But it was a real statement of intent, I think, asking to go up, looking to go up, and now they're here. And I suppose when we're looking at Down, they kind of want to, I suppose, prove as to why they should be playing senior championship here today. And I know they've won the Division 2 league title earlier this year, and I suppose that goes some way to proving their senior status. But I think today it's a real opportunity for them to kind of leave a mark on the senior championship. Obviously, it's a pretty difficult fixture. They're after travelling down from down here to Waterford, to Walsh Park, a pitch that Waterford are very, very comfortable in, which is kind of a positive thing to look at over the last number of years and the amount of matches that they've had here. But it's a completely new ground, quite literally, for Down, as well as it being kind of breaking new ground in the senior championship.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Breaking new ground is a good term to end on then with regards to Down as we prepare for this championship encounter. It promises to be a cracker because, well, it's hard to know with regards to just balancing it off how things have affected each other with regards to the league. But you would imagine Waterford going to come out all guns blazing. Down are looking to continue the form that they're in, so it promises to be a right encounter here throughout the afternoon. So Lauren will be with me on commentary. We'll bring you the best of the action. But for the moment, we're going to take a break, and we'll hear from both camps after this. Walsh Park in Waterford City, and we're joined by Down manager Derek Dunn. Derek, glad to be here, senior championship, and looking to dip your feet in the water here.
Yeah, especially down in Waterford beside the coast. No, listen, look, it's great. It's something, come early January last year we've been looking forward to, and if you can't get yourself up for this, you may forget about it really.
The last few months, Derek, they've been kind of fairy tale stuff in a way, winning the All-Ireland eventually after a couple of years of knocking on the door. Then the last couple of months have rolled on. League and Ulster Championship in recent weeks. It's been a phenomenal few months.
Listen, they're the most tenacious bunch I've ever met, and the more we keep giving, the more they keep taking, the more they keep learning and keep moving on. And it comes through some great games, be Cork and Wexford, and back playing Antrim again in the final. So listen, it's part of all our preparations. We wanted to get a couple of more games out of the league, to test ourselves, and we got that. And now look, it's for today. It's all for today really.
This is a game, obviously, I would imagine you've targeted in a way, Derek, because you fought to get up to the senior championship. I'm sure you want to leave a marker on day one.
100%. We're not hiding behind anything. It's all systems go. We've our homework done, and we're pushing on to try and get a win here today. That's the aim. Or do you know what I mean?
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Derek. Derek Lyons, Waterford manager. Derek, if you don't mind me saying, if Down are on a bit of an upward curve, in recent months have been a little bit down. Probably championship now, looking to get back on the field of play and maybe put things in an upward direction.
Yeah, I hear your point. Maybe that might be the view of some people that have been on the way down, but I suppose I could give a lot of reasons for maybe where things have worked so far today, but I'm not going to do that. Today is the start of a new championship, so that's the way we're looking at it. So there's no baggage coming here today in terms of what's happened in the past. This is about starting the All-Ireland series today. We have a home match against a very good outfit in Down, and that obviously they've been promoted to Division 1, and congratulations on that. And just to say, we'd like to welcome them here to Walsh Park. Look, we're coming with our own game plan today, and hopefully it'll be enough to get us across the line.
Yeah, and you mentioned there, it would be very important, I would imagine, that you've expressed in the last few weeks to the girls, clean slate, and let's just have a crack at it here.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, I mean, we're in round one of the All-Ireland series. Where else would they rather be? I suppose we would have reflected on this at the start of the year. The sole objective, the primary objective, one of many, I suppose, was to get back into a position where they can maybe push on from last year. And nothing that has happened so far this year has had an impact on that plan. It starts today, really, I suppose. If you ask me after the game, I'll be giving you a different version of events, I suppose. But today is the start of a whole new season for us. And really, it's about the All-Ireland series at the end of the day, and that's what we're here for, And
finally to you, Derek, a side that have undoubted talent, that have knocked on the door, maybe getting into the knockout stages and maybe even progressing that little bit further along the line. Do you think this year can be any different?
Well, we believe it can be. The girls are in a good space at the moment. Obviously, we've done some... Look, I'm a new manager in there. We've a whole new backroom system in there. We've lost a few players in the last year or two. We've blooded in a few players this year. It was going to be a transition year for me, obviously, new to management in terms of Camogie, so there's a lot of learnings there. But if you're asking me, do I believe it can be different this year? Absolutely, and I have no reason to believe it in the form that they're in at the moment, and we're expecting a massive performance out of the girls today.
We wish you the best of luck, Derek.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And you're welcome back to Walsh Park here in Waterford City, sunny southeast, just in time for our own Naveen as we prepare for this All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship Group 2 Round 1 encounter between Waterford and Down. Everyone just getting together. Either we're just unlucky in the space that we were sitting in, or they didn't hear that in New Ross. But anyway, we're on the being loud and going here in Walsh Park in Waterford City. Both teams getting ready to get into action, so we'll just go down quickly through the Waterford team then. And it starts in goal with Brianna O'Regan from De La Salle, Sibyl Harney of St Anne's, Iona Heffernan of Ferrybank, and Keely Corbett Barry of De La Salle, Clodagh Carla Galtier, Orla Hickey Dungarvan, and Lorraine Bray of Cappoquin. At centre field, it's Shona Kern of Lismore and Clara Griffin of Tramore. Ciara Sullivan Galtier, Niamh Rockett, the captain of St Anne's, and Abby Flynn of De La Salle at the half forward. Sarah Lacey Dungarvan, Beck Carton of De La Salle, and Vicky Falconer of Tramore is in the other corner. For Down then, Catherine McGorty lining out, of course, with many here behind her, but in the sticks there from Ballycran. Katrina Caldwell Castlewell and Dervla McGee of Leitrim, and coming in wearing number 24 is Blondet Savage of Ballygalga. She replaces Erin Rafferty of Clonduff. Dervla Savage, Karen McMullen and Beth Fitzpatrick at the half-backs. Aoife Keown and Paul O'Hagan at centre field. Amy McAleen and Sarah Louise Graffin the captain, and Saoirse McCartan. And then it's Niamh Mallon, Lauren Clark and Anna Rogan. Game is on, just a matter of seconds. Referee is Justin Heffernan from Wexford, and it is in the hands of Orla Hickey, getting a shout out here from Bray. Bray having a look around, the player from Cappoquin, trying to get it forward to Rocket, but it's cut out by Amy McAleenan, the Leitrim player, getting the ball inside where Lauren Clark is trying to get out on that ball, and maybe it might fall for Sarah Louise Graffin, but the referee says that there was a legal touch on that ball, and it's going to be a free for Waterford. Waterford defending the dressing room end of the ground here with the wind and a sizable enough breeze, as we mentioned already, Lauren, coming from the city end of the ground here.
Yeah, absolutely, and the pitch out there is rock hard as well, so you'll be seeing lots of balls bouncing today.
Good strong play there by Dervla McGee, trying to play it down along the wing. Of course, Dervla, one of the soaring stars for Down, in a fantastic 2020 they've had a great start to 2021 already, with a Division 2 and Ulster title in their back pockets as they come down here to Walsh Park. Ball is flighted down then into the corner, where it's going to be picked up by the lady who's making her championship debut here, Blondet Savage, looking to play the ball in field and going to be taken in by Paula O'Hagan. Paula, one of the surviving members of the Down team that played Waterford in the Premier Junior final back in 2011. Just 2 on the Waterford setup, a few more on the Down setup as this ball is knocked towards Clark, picked up here by Niamh Mallon, one of the star players for Down. Swings left and right, shot from an impossible angle off the upright. Ball might bounce here still, with the referee Justin Heffernan is calling it back for a free. There was a foul committed on Niamh Mallon, and you can see already what Waterford are not going to underestimate Niamh Mallon. It looks like every time she's going to get the ball, there's going to be a couple of players around her.
Yeah, it's been pretty physical already. I suppose we're going to see what kind of interpretation of this contact rule we're going to see today. But yeah, it's been hot and heavy so far, and that would have been a superb score had it just been maybe an inch or two inside the post.
Niamh Mallon was out here when I arrived at around 1:15 or thereabouts, having shots at goal. She had the breeze in her face that time. She's her back with the wind this time. in towards the dressing room end has probably put too much purchase on it. Actually, it swung in just too late and it's gone to the right and wide. Probably allowed too much for the breeze there.
Yeah, a little bit. It'll take a bit of time, I suppose, to kind of judge that wind and see kind of how high, how far left, how far right you have to go with that strike. But yeah, a positive start for Down so far.
Yeah, Niamh Mallon with the first shots on goal here as Beck Carton tries to get on this ball, juggling with it there left and right, but eventually gets it into her hands, knows this ground quite well, shortens the grip and plays it over to the far side to Rocket, Niamh Rocket. The two secondary school teachers now combining, playing it in low, looking to try and get this ball towards Sarah Lacey, but back there winning this is Dervla McGee. And McGee turns out onto her right hand side and plays a lovely ball out to the middle where it's picked up by Castlewellan's Aoife Keown. Keown playing this ball on now, looking to play it into the middle. And a diagonal ball across field by Paul O'Hagan. Look at the hop off that ball and nearly coming up chest high there is Niamh Mallon going to settle. This is her second shot, third shot would you believe at the post, of course, because the first one was called back and she splits the upright with a fine score from Niamh Mallon.
Yeah, that bounce, it's pretty much like an AstroTurf out there. It's going to take a while, as I said, to kind of judge that, but yeah, it's going to speed this game up massively, which is what they don't want on a game with 26 degrees on top of them.
Yeah, rock hard out there, as you can imagine, but it is resplendent with a nice coating of grass on it. It's going to mean speedy, fast camogie here. Rocket has gone inside. Carton's going to settle on this though, sends it towards that left hand upright, but inexplicably, very on Beck Carton, like puts it to the left and wide.
Yeah, she'll be disappointed with that. One, she wasn't under a huge amount of pressure for her, but I suppose again, just trying to judge the wind and whatnot.
Again, could have played it inside towards Niamh Rocket there, but she elected to go for the score. That ball touched there by Ciara O'Sullivan falls into the hand of Shona Kern, and she gets it up here into the direction now of Carton. Two players around Carton, but she looks like she's just jogging out there at the moment, dropping this ball in, but it's into the midriff and grateful hands of Catherine McGorty. Of course, Catherine, who was on the Down panel, who last played senior camogie back in 1999, would you believe? That's how long Catherine is around.
Yeah, a lot longer than I suppose I've been playing camogie at least.
I think Catherine was quick to downplay her involvement in 1999. She said she was only loosely in there on the panel, but still, it's a fair achievement.
Committed to the cause.
Ball picked up here now by Claudia Carroll, dropping it down into the corner, looking for a bit of run here out of Carton. Carton is touching an awful lot of ball here in the early stages. Plays a dinky little ball inside, going to have a shot off here for Waterford. Is that the levelly score? No, comes off the upright. Ball break here for Ciara Sullivan, trying to get there. Sullivan trying to dig it out, but Down look to have the numbers back there. Trying to get it out there. Beth Fitzpatrick was there, trying to guide it out towards the end line, trying to help her out as well. Blondet Savage. Ball is still on the deck. There's hands and knees and everything in there at the moment, trying to keep possession of this ball. Vicky Falconer is in there trying to dig it out. Still down towards the end line, and Justin Heffernan is quite happy for it to continue, and it goes out off a Waterford player. And I suppose the Down defence did their job there, Lauren.
They did, and that's a scrummage type play. It's quite fatiguing, so I suppose they'll be trying to avoid that throughout this first quarter.
And a quick one taken, of course, by Catherine McGorty. She can do that from a wide. It's sent in straight away, long in shot from Saoirse McCartan, but that's gone out to the right and wide. Quick thinking there by Catherine McGorty.
Yes, trying to speed it up as much as possible. I suppose they're probably trying to capitalise on Waterford's frustration in terms of those missed points.
Rain Bray picked that ball up and gave it to Shabelle Harney. Harney down along the middle it goes, where it's knocked away by Karen McMullen. Karen giving it to Sarah Louise Graffin, the captain, who's had a fine few weeks and picking up silverware. Graffin charging through, gets away from Bray, popping the ball inside, a little bit high, but Mallon might turn it into something. Mallon's on the bike here. Mallon's going to settle on this and put the ball over the bar. She turned it into something.
And she could have turned it into a goal, I suppose, if she wanted to give that one extra pass to the full forward that was just inside her. But I suppose trying to settle the team good and early.
We've had an awful lot of action there in that last minute. A couple of wides and a point as well, but Niamh Mallon shown that she is, while she might be playing, that she gets in that block on this, and this might work out here still from a Down perspective, but the Waterford defence, just a little bit of mess in there, and probably conscious of that breeze. Brianna Regan elected to go for the short one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure exactly what that free was for, but this is a blistering start from Down. It's exactly what they would have been looking for, and it's exactly the opposite to what Waterford would have wanted. I suppose coming into this game, they would have looked for a bit of momentum starting off, but it just hasn't happened yet.
So Niamh Mallon, as we said, Catherine McGorty, Karen McMullen, Paul O'Hagan, Sarah Louise Graffin and Niamh Mallon have all played Premier Junior, Intermediate and now Senior Camogie for Down. That's a fair record to have. And it just shows you where Down have come from in the last 10 years or thereabouts. as O'Hagan gets on this ball now. The Clonduff player sending it down along the wing here, tracking back and taking it very, very well. Centre back Orla Hickey. Of course, Orla more used to seeing her around the middle of the field, but playing centre back this time in the team, which has seen a little bit of a shuffle, of course, with Kate Lynch still serving her suspension.
Just looking here at the team setup as well, Waterford seem to have pulled out to give as much space as possible to Beth Carton down the full forward line, so it's making that middle third quite congested at the moment.
So cut inside by Paul O'Hagan, and it might work out here for Saoirse McCartan. Saoirse definitely one of the star players of this Down team in recent months. Ball is played inside now, might break here, trying to get a touch on it. Here's Clark flicking the ball across the goal. That's a dangerous ball. Mallon is trying to get there. That looked like a haul down. Justin Heffernan hasn't called anything. That looked like surely we're going to have a penalty here.
Yeah, there's been...
Yes, it is. Had to be.
It absolutely had to be, and there's been a lot of chat in recent days about what scoring opportunities are and what they aren't, and that most definitely was a scoring opportunity.
But credit Lauren Clark, we had to see her at the end of 2020, never seems to give up on a ball, does some amount of work off the ball, got a little flick across there, caused all sorts of trouble for the Waterford defence, and now there's a penalty out of it.
Yeah, again, these kind of passes in, I suppose that surface suits that kind of pass in, because again, it can pop in any different direction, so just to be in on top of it, and I suppose to force that kind of cynical foul.
And it's McGurty that's come all the way from the goals at the city end of the ground here, the scoreboard end of Walsh Park in Waterford City. A gorgeous day, about 25 degrees here in the southeast. Breeze is probably just peppering down the temperature that little bit, because I know it's touching 28 and 9 in other parts of the country, but it's the two netminders against one another. McGurty against Brianna O'Regan. Here comes McGurty then with the strike from 20 metres out. Great save by O'Regan. Ball is going to be taken in by Shauna Kern, and Kern is going to come out with it. No free. The free being given, the advantage has been given. Kern looking to play it up, but Brianna O'Regan did that very well. It's been turned over. Mallon straight away looking to lob that ball back in. Goes out to the left and wide, but the referee, which one is he calling back? He says to Shauna Kern, your advantage was gone, because Shauna is asking why didn't she get it. He's maintaining it was gone. So it's going to be a free into Niamh Mallon, because she was getting an advantage. But what a save by Brianna O'Regan.
A super save, and that's exactly what Waterford need right now, is some sort of kind of psychological advantage or psychological benefit. And that's exactly what that's going to give them. It's going to lift these girls to the next, I suppose, 7-8 minutes until we get to that first water break.
Just if we got to see the penalty again, though, you might just feel it was a little bit too close to her.
Absolutely. And I suppose, yeah, we're getting a look at it here.
Interesting enough as well, you see Brianna took a step to the left. It was nearly urging Catherine then to go right, and that was obviously the way.
It was struck very much at waist height though, which I suppose if you ask any goalkeeper, that's exactly where they want it.
Mallon then with this free, and Justin Heffernan giving a good talking with Shauna Kern as that ball goes over the bar. And Niamh Mallon definitely on fire here.
Absolutely, yeah. The Waterford are going to have to try and, I suppose, stem the tide into her. I see Lorraine Bray is after collecting the ball now that I mention her, but someone like her maybe might be shoring her up a little bit.
Lorraine Bray taking that ball, but down, turned over by Paul O'Hagan. O'Hagan looking to give it up towards Clark. Clark tried to be a little bit too much of a magician with it, and tried to get it inside, but Down have won it back after giving it away there. Ball down into the corner now. We're trying to get back there and cover Iona Heffernan, but she's been tracked all the way here by Mallon. Mallon trying to get in there, as he said, there's two players around her. Gets the stick in, looked a little bit high. It's going to be a free out. And well played there, Iona Heffernan, giving Sabale Harney a pat on the back there. And I tell you, that is going to be some clash there between Harney and Mallon.
Absolutely. And again, as you were saying, this temperature is not conducive to that. And just looking down here as well, Waterford definitely have taken someone away from that half-forward line. Karen McMullen is pretty much playing as a sweeper in that wing-back line there.
Here, Rocket on the way now, taken with her. Vicky Falconer plays it towards the primary teacher. Vicky was away for a few years in England, back playing this year, keeping the ball along the ground, hockey style, trying to play it, but McGurty stands up big and strong, plays the ball out here onto the top of McAleenan, but the ball goes over her head, taken on here now by Shauna Kern. Kern looking to shorten the grip, play the ball along the ground inside, but trying to win that there was Beth Fitzpatrick. Ball breaks though, and it's picked up by Carton. Back out it goes, Rocket, jinks right, then left, shortens the grip. That's a fine score from Niamh Rocket.
The super score, and under pressure as well. Waterford needed that, I think. It's been all down up on this half of the pitch, but to get down there and convert finally and get onto the scoreboard is an important one for Waterford.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting a score on the board finally. Niamh Rocca getting that way. The captain playing a captain's part, an all-star from 2020. Ball is knocked long forward though, and it's McAleen looking to step inside Harney, playing a ball across the field now, looking for a little bit of a run here out of Anna Rogan, but the ball is just, that hit the ground, would you believe, Lauren, on the 20-metre line, made it all the way to the end line.
Exactly, we're going to see a lot of that today. Again, it'll be a case of kind of judging those balls. Is it worth going after? Is it worth letting off?
Ball is down here into the corner now, where Down do it very, very well, and Paul O'Hagan, as she always is, waiting to accept the ball and play it long, dropping down in on top of the heads again, might bounce over here, chance here for Rogan, she's still getting the stick in there, being tracked all the way. Keely Corbett Heffern, or Keely Corbett Barry I should say, trying to keep that ball in play, but she was able to play it actually off the Down player, and it's gone out to the left and wide. 2 long balls from Down. It just goes to show you the win doesn't always win you a game either.
No, absolutely. I suppose what you have to kind of do is try to utilise it, convert it, I suppose make it go in your favour. It can be a difficult task to do. I've tried it, not very successfully myself, but it can be a hindrance in some instances as well. But I think on a day like this, we mentioned it earlier, it might be a significant help given the heat.
3 points for Down. They've all come from Niamh Mallon as she tries to get free here at the moment, get to that ball, but again it's gone out to the left and wide, and I'm sure Derek Dunn will be conscious that some of the balls in at the moment are just being a little bit overcooked here.
Yeah, and we're seeing a huge amount of play on this flank right here in front of us, and I suppose there may be a question later on, maybe it might be mentioned at the water break, can we shift it down the other wing and see how we get on? Can we kind of benefit from some of those balls?
3 points for Down, 1 for Waterford, 4 wides for Down, 2 for Waterford, and a penalty save as well in there from Brianna O'Regan. Ball in the hands of Paul O'Hagan, steps inside Rocket, comes on to her left, driving the ball inside now. Mallon has judged this well, has she? Just has to put on the burners a little bit to make sure she gets there, try and keep it in play. Does just about, met by Sabale Harney, a tough cornerback, back out it goes here. Keoghan going to have a shot, that's a fine score, puts it over the bar, happened to come into the right into the little pocket. Someone decided, let's get up here and support Niamh Mallon, put over the bar by Aoife Keoghan.
Yes, super score. I suppose with those balls going in and moving as they are going right into the wings. You're going to have to get some of those wing backs to come up and collect some of those offloads, I suppose, and we've seen that just there.
4-1, the intermediate champions of 2020, they lead the Division 2 winners, the Ulster champions. That's what they're coming down here to Walsh Park with. It's a fine pedigree in recent months. Waterford, unfortunately for them, proud camogie tradition on the back door of a relegation from Division 1. Ball is won by Dervla McGee over on the far side, popping the ball down long, but it's well taken there by the defence, and of course Orla Hickey playing it down into the corner, looking for Carton. We need to see a bit more of Beck Carton. Ball maybe inside now, opportunity for Sarah Lacey, knows where the goals are, but it's overcooked, and she looks like she's hurt herself as well, and it's cleared there by Karen McMullen. Ball is up the field, clash of the ash, ball breaks. It's going to be Kern trying to get across there. Looked like she took the Down player out of it there as she tried to get across. Referee quite happy to allow the play continue. Kern throws a pass out here to Bray. Bray, an all-star herself in recent years, trying to find the ball up into the corner here for Vicky Falconer. Gets away from her, short and grip. It's out to O'Hagan again, always the quarterback, always in the space, always looking for ball, long ball in, looking for Mallon. Lovely little flick down, but doesn't really work out. Going to be picked up here by the Waterford defence, trying to play it out. Looked like a foul by Mallon. Referee allowing the play to continue. Clark trying to get in there and disrupt it, trying to get in there and win it, as well as McCartan. McCartan looking to go into a battle there with Abby Flynn. Still has it, McCartan looking to step around. This would be some score if it goes over the bar. She's made it all of her own. Saoirse McCartan with the score of the game.
That's a superb score. I suppose we saw there was a significant amount of rucks there in that middle quarter. It needed someone to step out, kick it out of that ruck, take possession and pop it over the bar. Super score.
Down have come down here. They are showing no respect to Waterford and going at it here.
There's a significant difference in, I suppose, tactics, I suppose, here. Waterford are trying to, we have the water right now, Waterford are trying to gain possession here in, I suppose, the middle third, maybe into the wing forward line, and they have an acre of space. They're trying to run into that space, whereas on the opposite side, we're seeing Down pop balls in, see what happens, and it's working out for them.
Yeah, it's working out for them so far. We're going to take a water break as well, just to get the throats back in order here for this. But it is, of course, the All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship Group 2 Round 1 encounter, all charging for the O'Duffy Cup on September the 12th. And at the moment, Down are showing everybody that they're not just here to make up the numbers. They lead Waterford at the water break in the first half by 5 points to 1. Welcome back after the water break. Then 5 points to 1, letting you know in one of the early games that's currently underway, Galway are leading against Westmeath, and it was significant enough there. Westmeath just having a penalty saved. And 3-13 to 1-5 is the latest score that we had there. There's that ball trying to come forward here by Lorraine Bray, but they're nearly like a little fan club down here. The subs from the Down team are given as good as anything here in the crowd.
I suppose they aren't going to have the benefit of a huge travelling support given the distance involved. So I suppose we will say hello to anyone watching above and down that couldn't make it today.
One lady that might be watching, or she'll definitely catch up with it anyway, as it'll be on the YouTube channel over the next few hours, might be, of course, a lady that we'll see running in Tokyo in a few weeks' time. Ciara McGeehan, of course, a big fan of Camogie and of Down. And Ciara, if you are watching, or you will be watching, best of luck in the coming weeks. As this ball breaks, and going to be taken on here by Iona Heffernan. Keeping it close quarters now is Beck Carton, who's dropped a long way out here. Down conscious of, I would imagine, trying to have a little bit of a lead here at half-time with that breeze, which is significant enough. Keown, anyway, does sufficiently enough. And Down just first every ball here. And that's Amy McAleena, put the stick up there, took it away from Shauna Kern, but Bray is taking the fight, shortens the grip, and a lovely little paddle pass on. And it's Falconer now, jinking and jiving, coming forward. Oh, lovely break at the tackle. Look at the play, it's short inside, maybe should have went right rather than left, and it's going to be picked up here by Down. And McAleena tried to get the stick up, but the ball gets on here and pulled on it by Kern, trying to control by Bray. Lovely little bit of stick work, keeps it in, shoving it back. Surely Justin Heffernan saw nothing on it. Thought McAleena was a little bit robust there and trying to get that ball, and it's Waterford to come away with it, with Clara Griffin taking the ball forward, and she hits the deck. But Down, definitely the physicality that they're bringing to this game, Waterford seem a little bit shocked by it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Waterford, they're trying to run the ball, which is taking an awful lot out of them. They're doing some really, really good stuff, but then I suppose where it's breaking down is kind of in between that 45 and 21 yard line, and that's demoralising, I suppose, from a psychological perspective, but it's hugely fatiguing as well. So they're going to try to, I suppose, capitalise on some of this. In the near future, Beth Carton, as you mentioned, has been drafted out a little bit further away from the goals, and we'll see how things work out.
Sarah Lacey, lovely little jink onto her left, coming in on her right. It'll be a fine score if it goes over the bar. That is a good score from a lady who knows where the posts are. Sarah Lacey from Dungarvan gets Waterford's second score.
Yeah, the deficit is now back to 3 points, which again Waterford are going to try and, I suppose, bridge over the next little while to try and gain back some advantage. 5
points to 2 then as the ball breaks over on the far side. O'Hagan up along the wing then. Of course, formerly Paula Gribben. Ball is played inside now from a Waterford point of view with Shauna Kern trying to get it here towards Rocket. Rocket having a right little battle there at the moment with Katrina Caldwell, but Rocket hops the ball to herself and then flicks it out towards Carton. A little bit too much on it, and Beth having to come searching for the ball now, and Down have turned this over. It's Aoife Keown. Lovely block down though, and she has to get to it at the second time of asking. Didn't come up the first time, didn't come up the second time, still hasn't come up the third time. McAleena having to kick it forward maybe to try and get it. Still nobody can get it up on the stick. Eventually trying to get it up into the hand there is Ciara O'Sullivan, the Galtier player, looking to get forward, settling now, Rocket in a bit of space, settles on this, going to fire it towards the post, and Waterford have hit a bit of a groove.
That's exactly what I suppose didn't happen on that last attack at goal, was that support play, calling for the ball, trying to move into a better position. Niamh Rocket did it just there, and look how it's worked out.
Niamh Rocket's not a player though, you can leave in space 40 yards from goal. As McGurty finds O'Hagan and she drops it down along the wing. Looked like there was a foul committed there, and Niamh Mallon. There's a bit of everything going on with herself and Shabelle Harney. One was on the ground, the hurl was gone another way. There's a right little battle going on between them as Brianna O'Regan gets this ball and knocks it long. O'Hagan gets a flick on it. Ball is going to be picked up and into the hands here of Saoirse McCartan. Jinks back onto her left hand side. Plays a lovely crossfield ball to Keown. Has got the other score of this game. Niamh Mallon has got the other 3 as this ball is played inside. Might break, but it goes all the way through to Brianna O'Regan. And all of a sudden, Waterford, just like they've reset. The water break has worked out for Waterford.
Yeah, it's obviously not meant to be used as kind of a tactical break, but we're seeing most teams are using it in that fashion just to get a couple of directives in. We're not seeing too many people allowed onto the pitch anymore, so those, I suppose, 2 minute, 3 minute breaks can be hugely influential.
This day, 117 years ago, camogie was played in public for the first time at the Royal Mead Agricultural Society grounds in Navan. It later became the site of the GA Stadium Park, Talton. The game was between two Dublin clubs, Keatings and Cucullins. And who would have thought 117 years later we'd be streaming?
There's some facts for us.
There you go. In public. Imagine ladies playing
You'd wonder
camogie.
where it was played before that.
What?
In private.
Yeah, it obviously was. You wouldn't have them out with sticks as this ball is floated in and put over the bar. Amy McAleen, I think was the one with the stick there. It's Sarah Louise Graffin, actually. I'll give her that point there. That's a fine score. A typical one of Sarah Louise getting in the rough and tumble and putting that ball over the bar. Good response from a Down point of view with regards to the last couple of scores from Waterford.
Yeah, I suppose Down, we haven't even mentioned it so far. They kind of they have that wind behind them, so they can afford to kind of take those long pot shots. A couple have paid off, and that absolutely is one of them.
Ball picked up by Beck Carton. Lovely little play. Bounced it back into herself and the ball breaks here. Clara Griffin trying to get there. There's a free coming up now for Waterford. And again, Waterford is taking a bit of a bite fight back to Down. They're going to have to, because Down have bullied them here a little bit.
They are. I think if we even got some stats, I'm trying to keep on top of them here, but there's so many happening. Frees awarded for Waterford. There has been quite a few more than Down. I think it's indicative of the physicality of Down.
Ball breaks. Going to be picked up by Katrina Caldwell, the Castlewellan player. Back it goes again. There's O'Hagan. Oh, was in the pocket. The Clonduff player driving this ball forward. Lady that's a veteran of a number of campaigns. I hope she won't mind me using the word veteran, but she has been around Paula a good number of years now, wearing the Down colours. And as I said, one of the few that have survived playing Premier, Junior, Intermediate and now Senior camogie with Down. And as we said, only one connection with the senior team that played back in 1999, Catra McGorty, and she's in goals today for Down.
I believe Pamela Greville kind of achieved a similar fate last year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well,
with Westmeath.
She went all the way back to Junior C nearly.
And made her way back up again. Fair play to the counties that kind of do progress and promote the sport in their counties.
Not a great play by Shauna Kern, but it worked out all right for Beck Carton. Ball dropped short. Carton was able to knock it down into her hand and turn and put it over the bar. I don't think they meant it, but it's worked out for them.
Waterford will be delighted with that. I think they kind of really need to get Beth Carton into this game and exerting more of an influence than she already has.
That they do, as Down come charging here again now. Lovely little short and grip there and giving it to Graffin. Graffin looking to spin around now, playing the ball inside, of course. Sarah Louise Graffin, of course. Sarah Louise Carr, her sister Fanula, retired last year, of course, but she's part of the managerial team here. As this ball back with Keown. Keown giving it back to the number 15, Anna Rogan. Anna's having a bit of a battle there, but it might work out. Malin is out in front looking to spin back and short the grip. The umpire falls over as he went to have a look at that one, but the other umpire kept his eye on the ball, and it's a point for Down.
Again, a super point. I think some of the Waterford defenders are questioning that.
We do have a replay there of the umpire falling over, and I think the umpire on the point flag called it, but maybe the guy that fell over was the one. The linesman on the far side is called Justin Heffernan. Now there's going to have to be a call. I think it's going to be a wide. Now it was the Mayor come on over on the far side for Waterford that called initially.
I suppose the man that would have been in the best position unfortunately wasn't. The fact that we're having a discussion here would suggest that there might be grounds for appeal.
Interesting to see now. I think it's going to be disallowed, is it? No, it's a
No.
point. No. I have to say, Clodagh Carroll is not overly happy over there, but the man on the point flag obviously told the referee he was quite adamant that ball was over the bar. I don't think he wants to see it again, Dave. God help me, he's going to be a meme somewhere now at some point. But anyway, fine point from Niamh Mallon. And that's our fourth of this game, with 26 minutes gone.
And again, I suppose that's a negative, I suppose, for Waterford in terms of kind of mindset and with regards to this game. Something like that, a point being disallowed, kind of getting the crowd behind the team and pushing on, versus, I suppose, a point that might have been a little bit dubious and that decision going against you. We'll see how they handle that.
Sarah Louise Graffin, lovely little pop pass here now. Keown looking to have a flight ball into the corner. Malin out in front of Harney. There's a little bit of nuts and bolts and all's being thrown in here at the moment. There's slaps and shoulders and everything going on. It just goes to show you everything that's good about the ladies' game of camogie. Ball is played out, but I think illegally so, and Saoirse McCartan was about to turn on that one and put it over the bar, but it's called back for a foul, and it's going to be a free out. But as I said to you, Sabale Harney, she's a tough cookie and a cornerback, and she's given as good as she's getting against Niamh Mallon there.
Yeah, no, exactly. She's has a tough task ahead of her today. I think Niamh has 4 points to her name so far. 3 of those in play.
But Niamh Mallon confirming what we knew, I think, a number of years ago, that she was as good as any player in the senior championship. And getting 4 points out here today, 3 from play, just goes to show you she's able to live with the best of them. As here's another one that's able to survive Beth Carton and Niamh Rocket looking to come forward. Rocket jinking and jiving. Niamh is the survivor from that 2011 Premier Junior final, and she was trying to win that ball.
It's a huge amount of frees being given away by Down. I suppose we're going to have to wait and see how the ref manages to deal with this. Will we start to maybe see some of some cards being dished out? We'll have to wait and see.
Just going to be interesting to see. Yeah, Justin Heffernan, in fairness to him, has let that game go, but Downs maybe.
And again, not being, I suppose, ill-disciplined, just playing on the edge, which is exactly what we want to see.
Yeah. As Carton comes up to this, then into the city end and the scoreboard end, puts it on its way, knows the post quite well in here in Walsh Park, puts that ball over the bar, and that is Beth Carton's second point. 1 from play and 1 from a place ball. The 1 from play was a lovely bit of ingenuity. That saw Shona Kern's 45 drop short, and she was able to put it, the stick up, and turn on the top of the D and put it over the bar. 7-5 then. Will that lead be sufficient for Down with the breeze behind Waterford in the second half? Bit of a rugby scrum then forming there, and there's players falling, bodies everywhere, and trying to drive out with it there.
It was Clodagh Carroll was fouled there.
Ball
seemed to move into the tackle a little bit more.
Too much on it though, might be cut out here by Down's number 5, Dervla Savage. Savage looking to step inside, but she's well tackled there, and still getting the stick in and fighting on here was Abby Flynn. Ball is on the ground now. Flynn trying to get in there, dig it out, trying to get in there as well. Sarah Lacey got a fine score early on also. Getting ready for some of the kids to hit the pitch in the next few minutes, of course, so a little bit of goal game action at half time. Justin Heffernan quite happy to let this ball continue. It's moving obviously, and he decides, no, done enough now. You had your turn to get it out.
It isn't just the Lions tour that we're seeing scrums on.
Ball breaks over on the far side, and it's McCartan, and somehow she gets that ball back. That's unreal. How she was, after hitting the deck, was able to get that ball back. Paul O'Hagan left it a little bit short there for Blondet Savage, but Savage gets in, but it's turned over, trying to get forward on it now, Vicky Falconer, but O'Hagan back to make up for maybe or a little bit of a mistake and drop this ball forward now, trying to get on it here. Down looking to charge forward, and that ball played there by Lauren Clark, that goes through some amount of work off the ball, looking to get back in there, maybe block that ball down from Clodagh Carroll. A little bit of a loose one, but Beth Carton comes from nowhere to try and take that away from Saoirse McCartan. Ball breaks, so Savage looking to kick it on there. Dervla Savage of Ballygalgat. Abby Flynn trying to get in there and trying to win that ball back. Rowe lifts it up to the second time, trying to get away from the opposite number 12, Saoirse McCartan. Looked to be a little bit of a heavy challenge there, but the ball works out and it's going to be played across there by Clara Griffin. Card's been urged by the Waterford mentors here, but ball is worked over to the far side, and it's the other number 9 that picks it up, Paul O'Hagan, back in that pocket. Lovely little dink ball out here to Dervla McGee. McGee playing the ball diagonally upfield now, looking for a little bit of run out of Mallon, but it's a long way behind. But that's a lovely bit of play there by Graffin, looking to keep this ball alive, and she does, trying to get it in towards Mallon, leaning into Harney, hits the deck, and this time Sabale Harney is the winner.
I think she's picked up a bit of a knock herself as well as she moves away from that tackle. But yeah, Waterford will be hoping to, I suppose, get that ball down and reduce that deficit by even another score, just to bring it back to 1 before the break.
As you can imagine, baking conditions out there. Probably lucky to have that breeze that's blowing. I don't know if we can pick it up on the flags just before we get the play going again over on the far side. And we may be able to see the breeze that is blowing. And you can see the tricolour and the county flags there. That might give you an idea. So that's blowing with Down's favour. They lead 7-5, started off in a whirlwind, led 5-1 at the water break, but credit Waterford, they've come firing back now. Rocket is gone on a run inside because Carton is on the charge here. Look at the hop it towards that. Beck Carton still going, being tracked all the way, being fouled us as the referee, and a chance to make it a 1-point game. And since the water break, it's definitely been a better Waterford.
Yeah, Beth Carton has pretty much taken it upon herself, and I suppose she's been well flanked and well supported by her teammates, but I suppose Down didn't, or they wanted to contain the likes of Beth Carton coming into this game today, but she's really got a new lease of life in the second half. I think it's 2 points she has to her name so far, and again it's just indicative of her influence, I suppose, over the last 15 minutes.
Beth Carton then trying to make the angle a little bit better for herself, probably. Paul O'Hagan asking Justin Heffernan maybe about the reason for the free. With Beck Carton now standing about 7-8 metres in from the sideline. Will probably aim at that left hand upright. Actually goes a little bit tighter to the right one and puts it over the bar. Beck Carton then with her third point, and that narrows the gap, and it's the closest it's been in a while.
Yeah, I think momentum has shifted back to Waterford in the last number of minutes. We've seen too many frees, I suppose, awarded in Waterford's favour, and they're capitalising on it.
Sharp hook up by McGurty, tried to give it to O'Hagan. O'Hagan plays it forward now, trying to get it towards Mallon, breaking away from Mallon, and McCartan tried to play it on. Sabine Harney in there, Mallon tried to get in there, Clark is in there, being held off there by Claudia Carroll, trying to win the ball and play it forward, though referee says that Niamh Mallon overplayed it, and definitely Waterford have got a bit tighter on Niamh Mallon. Absolutely,
but I think maybe Down might be a little bit angry with that kind of decision. She was being held up, I suppose her options were limited, but yeah, another free opportunity here for Shona Kern, who has a fairly decent strike, so this might actually drop in around the house.
Down 7, Waterford 6. Could this be the last chance then of this first half? Justin Heffernan looking at the watch. Ball down into the corner where it's Niamh Rocket trying to win there, but Katrina Caldwell bursts out, takes a diagonal run in field. Looking to play it short, but she's tackled by Beck Carton in there trying to win it again. In that coming off the break there, Beth Fitzpatrick. O'Hagan is sitting out with a pocket waiting if it comes out. McGee is in there trying to win it as well. Ball is in the hands of Carton. Carton looking to turn left and right. Referee says that she fouled that ball. Waterford crew not overly sure of that, and Beck Carton's clubmates not too far away in their jerseys saying that maybe was Waterford free, but ball is sent long by Down. We continue to play. Ball hops. Graffin has got inside, looking to get away from Iona Heffernan. Graffin's on the ground, and there just goes to show you a little bit of game management by Down. A little bit could have conceded at the other end. Work a bit of a scoring opportunity. Graffin swaps inside. Ball is played across where she wins it. Wins the free. Chance to restore that 2-point lead.
Absolutely. It's all about keeping the heads, I suppose, and trying to kind of maintain your attention and not, I suppose, get too caught up in kind of what's the next thing that needs to happen and focus on the ball at hand. Might have been a goal opportunity had she gotten away from that defender, but they'll be hoping to extend that lead back to 2 after this.
And looks like a yellow card as well for Iona Heffernan. As Justin Heffernan said that she cut across the player, which was Sarah Louise Graffin. This free going to be taken by Niamh Mallon. And she puts that ball over the bar, and there is half time then right on the whistle. Niamh Mallon with her 5th point, 2 from placed balls. It makes it 8-6 here at the break, and Waterford have come, in fairness, roaring back into this game, Lauren, because at the water break 5 points to 1, and they were looking in a little bit of bother.
Yeah, it probably took them a little bit of time to settle, which I suppose you would have thought might have flipped the other way, considering, I suppose, the unfamiliar surroundings that Down have here. But again, that water break, people are firing against them. I think it probably has helped Waterford in that first half, not only to get some hydration on board, but just to kind of settle the nerves a little bit. They haven't, I suppose, they're probably coming into this game with a little or a lack of confidence considering the league so far, but just to kind of get a handle on things, point out some kind of simple things to try and address. They've done that, and they've roared back into this game. Down, I suppose, aren't sitting down. They're keeping those physicality stakes up nice and high, but I suppose they'll be happy with that point just before the break to again settle their nerves heading into that half-time break.
We know obviously Waterford in recent weeks, and they won't like me reminding them, but we've got to talk about the fact that, you know, the whole morale around the camp can't have been hugely great, let's say, or uplifted with the fact that you're relegated and then you have to focus on the championship. But maybe, you know, he got them together there at the water break, and they've started playing with a little bit of verve that we would have seen Waterford play with in the last few years.
Yeah, like a lot of players just need to be reminded of what they're capable of doing. And I think at times players can forget, and I suppose get very sucked up into kind of the last ball that didn't go their way, or the last point that they missed, or whatever it might be. But I suppose to kind of remind players of how good they are and how good the players around them are, and I suppose to kind of focus on those positive things that are going well, as opposed to kind of identifying too many weaknesses or too many things that maybe not going so well today. But I think the Waterford management have done that. They've instructed Beth Carton to kind of come away from her very, I suppose, sucked in position that we saw her in that first quarter. And I think like players around her are going to be gaining confidence from seeing Beth on the ball, seeing Beth doing good things on the ball, and seeing Beth, I suppose, scoring 3 points. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see now, are there any significant changes happening at half-time in terms of how the two teams are setting up? Waterford were very pulled back, had a lot of space in that forward line. They're going to have that breeze behind them now. It seems to have died maybe a little bit looking across there at those flags, but just seeing maybe how tactics might change as a result of that.
Well, we'll wait and see how things are going then. So All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship Group 2 Round 1 game here then. It is half-time, but it is down. The intermediate champions from last year, who definitely putting it up to their more illustrious senior opponents here this afternoon. And at half-time, it's down that lead by 8 points to Waterford 6. Rejoin us shortly. And you're welcome back here to Walsh Park. Just to let you know, there was a draw took place here for a couple of prizes at half time. A 55-inch TV went away of Marie Cummins, and a sports voucher went to Niamh O'Brien. So well done, locals listening. Marie Cummins and Niamh O'Brien, you're victorious. 8 points to 6 then it is here at half time. And don't see any changes on either team. And winning the ball, Clara Griffin looking to charge forward now as Waterford attack the dressing room end here of Walsh Park. Ball breaks, trying to get in there, Katrina Caldwell, but it's Vicky Falconer that's in there trying to pick it up and get going. Sarah Lacey might work out here. Abby Flynn shortens the grip and gives it to Carton. If Waterford push on here to try and get level, this could be interesting. Carton going to have a shot, but she's pulled it to the right and wide.
We've seen a positional change, I suppose, from the outset there. I know that kind of might have been happening in that first half, but Niamh Rocket has gone into full forward, and Beth Carton has started this half at half forward.
Ball breaking out here then, and trying to get going with it, Sarah Lacey, but she's muscled off of there by Saoirse McCartan. Carton trying to get forward, but Carton is out into the middle. So McCartan ball taken off her by Carton. Is Beck Carton dropping this in, but she's had 2 wides in quick succession. Catcher McGorty plays a lovely ball out into the space, bouncing away now from Aoife Keown, but she has time to settle on it. 65 metres away from the Waterford goal, looking to have a shot. It's going to drop in though, right into the hand here of Clark. Ball spins around now. Opportunity, Malin though is a little bit asking a bit much of Sarah Louise Graffin, but the ball might work out. No, Bragg hunts onto this, does that very well. Lorraine Bragg crashes in to the opposite number 7, Beth Fitzpatrick. Ball is picked up by Malindall, looking to play it low inside in, looking for a bit of movement here out of Rogan. Rogan gets out ahead of Keely Corbett. Barry is back in there trying to win it though as well, trying to kick it as well, trying to keep it moving though as Rogan. Ball breaks and it's going to be Waterford looking like they're trying to clear it, but keeping it going here and getting in there. Saoirse McCartan looking to come in along the end line, still going, looked like she got a bit of an illegal challenge. Free in, says the referee, because there's a pull of the jersey and a chance for Down to settle into this game when Waterford have had 2 opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we can see here Beth Carton is really trying to kind of see where that wind will take her. Down on the opposite end of the pitch, Down have kind of adjusted and they're running at the goals again, which I suppose would have been an instruction at half time. And look how it's worked out for them so far. Might have been a goal opportunity, but we've a pretty, I suppose, difficult angle here for Niamh Mallon to try and execute a score.
Niamh Mallon then to try and open the gap back to 3 points here. Started the second half. Niamh Mallon already with 5 points to her name into the city end of the ground here. The umpire looks like he's heading for the flag. Niamh Mallon has a very good shot statistics. She puts that free over the bar.
That's a super score, and again, huge boost to Down to start the second half.
Just to let you know, Galway have defeated Westmeath 3-16 to 1-5 in the early game. Kilkenny lead Clare by 12 points to 8 at half time, and latest score between Limerick and Wexford, it is 3 points apiece as Beck Carton wins this ball now, trying to get away from McGee. Still going, Beck Carton keeping it on the end of the hurl, gets away from her, ball hits the deck, but she's only to scoop it back up into her hands, settle back out. Beck Carton went for that, and McGurty kept her eyeing it. There was no lob shot at that. That was a shot at goal.
No, it absolutely was. And they're the kind of ones that can often kind of push past the goalkeeper, but their reflexes there. We have it here on the replay.
It's just the way she shows the eyes. She's looking like she's going high, and then it just
super
was heading
save
for that top corner. And Catherine McGurty.
We haven't seen too many shots on goal today, I suppose. That's probably kind of barring, obviously, the penalty in that first quarter. We haven't seen a huge amount of pressure on the goalkeepers, so that's kind of a nice starting point.
Yeah, probably just goes to show you the defensive displays in lots of ways. There's Carton. 3 in a row from Beck Carton now, unfortunately for her.
She won't be happy with herself with regards to that one.
3 in a row now. 3 scores and it remains 9 points to 6. Ball breaks now. Bet, in fairness to her, she keeps going hunting and plays this low ball inside here towards Rocca now. Lacey's running. Ball could be inside. Rocca decides so she's going to take it on herself. Settle the Galway, the Waterford nerves. Puts that ball over the bar. Fairness to Beck Carton. 3 wides in a row. You could go missing. Went out looking for that ball. Sets up Rocket over the bar.
No, like her reputation precedes her in terms of her, I suppose, doggedness and determination, and that just is indicative of it. Like other players would maybe drop the head a little bit, but not Beck Carton.
9 points to 7. Rocket on the ball now, looking to flick it inside. There'll be some score. This goes over the bar. Well, Niamh Rocket is showing up for the second half.
Oh Jesus, yeah. And style of play, I suppose, is something that's kind of bandied around with regards to Camogie quite a bit, and that's exactly it. Niamh Rocket, pure stylish.
Well, Niamh all of a sudden after hitting 2 on the bounce, that's her 4th point. Niamh Rocket having a fine game here as this ball out to the middle now where it's picked up by Saoirse McCartan, but she shrugged off the Waterford player there as she went to clear just to create a little bit of a gap there. And I think
I'm not sure, is it a head injury perhaps?
Yeah, it looked like there was a little bit of robustness in the challenge.
Yeah, it seems to be the head, all right.
And of course, we know head injuries. Now I'll allude to you here.
Yeah, I suppose at this point in time we're going to be assessing the player for concussion, I suppose. If possible, obviously we don't have it in this game, is to get a replay of the incident, ask players around what exactly happened. You're clearing the player for concussion, and we use what we call the Maddox questions. So it's kind of similar to kind of where are you today and whatnot. It'd be more like who was the last person to have scored, what pitch are we at today, who would you have last played. They're the kind of questions we'd be asking the player, and we seem to have passed all assessment here today, which is great to see.
So Ciara O'Sullivan's up happy enough anyway. The doctor and the physio that went out there.
An indirect free, I presume?
Yeah, I'd imagine after that, yeah. Well spotted there, Lauren, as Paul O'Hagan then drops this ball in. Mallon goes up to try and take it down to herself, but well marshalled there. But in fairness, Keown gets in, turns into a bit of white and blue traffic. Back out goes to McCartan. No shot now. It is being urged by the Waterford management. McAleenan trying to get on this ball, but out winning that there. Orla Hickey taking no prisoners either. Orla Hickey cleared the ball, and Amy McAleenan.
Will she go for it from here?
I'd say she's putting it up on a bit of grass. That's what she's thinking of. And we know when you've Rebecca Henley in the Galway squad and you know you can get 2 points, I'd imagine it's something that's been practiced by good free takers. That's a fine score. And that is a cracking effort from Saoirse McCartan. That's worth 2 points. 2 points then, so Down pushing themselves on there on the scoreboard. Saoirse McCartan, what a cut.
And isn't it superb to see that these players are now playing at the highest level, that they're going to get the recognition that they deserve, that this is, I suppose, on this live stream, that we can promote the game, promote the skills of this game, and promote players such as Circa.
So we'll show that on the scoreboard there in the next minute, yeah. So it's gone up to 11 points now. As the ball breaks over on the far side. Going to be taken in. Waterford on the move with this shot coming in from Abby Flynn, but she's tailed it out to the right and wide, and it just goes to show you again that, wides mounting up there a little bit.
They are, and sometimes I suppose wides can be to your benefit in terms of trying to keep possession, run down the clock, but at the start of the second half it's exactly what they don't want to see happening. Perhaps they're still trying to get to grips with that wind, and they were playing into it, as we know, in that first half, but just to see kind of how much pull they have to take on each shot, how much of an angle do they have to kind of add to each strike.
So the sideline cut right on the scoreboard here now. They've just got it right here, and of course we had flagged it on our own scoreboard. So 11 points to 8. How important to have someone in your team. And now we've seen, as we said, that Rebecca Henley did it twice last year in one match within the space of 5 minutes. And we seem to have someone on the Down team in Sorka McCartan that can do it as well.
Yeah, it's superb. We're seeing it a huge amount in the men's game, and it's probably nearly been overdone in the men's game. But if 2 points were enough in that, I'm sure we'd see an awful lot more.
Yeah, but when you look at it from a Waterford point of view, they had closed the gap to 1, and then something like that happens, you know.
Oh,
that looks
we
like
might have
a bit of an injury here. You as a physio grimaced at that one.
It was uncontested. It looked to be perhaps a kind of a boot stuck in the ground and she was moving beyond it. I'm not going to speculate too much on this, but it was, as a physio that has addressed some of these myself, I know we're kind of having the alarm bells going, running into that player.
Yeah, and Sarah Louise Graffin is the player that's on the ground, as she's such a big part of this Down team. And she's off the field of play now at the moment, and looks like to be in a little bit of a pain. She could have jarred her ankle there, but looked like they're at the knee by the looks of things.
Yeah, the way she pulled up her, I suppose, desire to put any weight through that left leg is indicative of a player being in an awful lot of pain. We're looking in the knee with regards to meniscal issues, kind of ligament issues. Again, I don't want to speculate without.
Absolutely, well, and I won't expect you to. But just as a physio, with these ground conditions and everything, Lauren, I'm just conscious of players in recent years would have had maybe the winter to prep their body, the muscles, the joints, everything like that. And now, because obviously the delay with COVID and everything, they were coming back to harder surfaces and doing kind of similar endurance work, so it obviously has had a knock on the bodies a little bit.
Yeah, there's like a huge amount of variables that are going to be affected with this, I suppose, change in the season, lack of a pre-season and whatnot. We've a faster game with surfaces such as these. We've bodies that just haven't been able to kind of adapt to that faster game, muscles that are getting fatigued because they aren't used to kind of these durations of kind of high intensity games. You can do all the 5 kilometre runs you want in the world, but it just doesn't replicate, I suppose, competitive match fixtures. And even, I suppose, trying to get that in training, you need games in order to get game fitness, and we just haven't had a huge amount of kind of opportunity for that. She does seem to be up, which is an encouraging sign. I suppose next up will be to see about her appropriateness to continue, I suppose.
Well, physio is walking it through, but in fairness, she is up and moving, and hopefully we don't have any serious injury, and that maybe it was just a little bit of a jarring of the ankle in some ways. Lauren, as I said, we use your expertise a little bit more, but Sarah Louise is up and moving gingerly a little bit at the moment, but at least good to see with weight back on that leg.
Yeah, because again, you're looking at kind of the forces that are being absorbed by the joints when they hit that very hard surface, and just that kind of shock, sudden pain, I suppose, that we can kind of feel throughout the meniscus, perhaps in the knee, can be quite uncomfortable.
A goal from Cueva Lyons has Limerick 1-4-5 up against Wexford, as Shauna Curran came out with that ball and overplayed it, and just shows you how fired up the Down girls are. That Aoife Keown was very adamant there and shouting in the face a little bit.
Yeah, they came here with a point to prove, and I think that's been maintained. I suppose they're only adding fuel to the fire with regards to that, and they can kind of see maybe a light at the end of the tunnel here with regards to this game, although premature.
That ball might break. It's going to be a shot by McAleena, and she puts it over the bar. And Down have really bounced back well there from the concession of those 2 rocket points. Got the sideline cut that's worth 2, and that fine score there.
Yeah, momentum has really switched back. I think Waterford will probably be looking for this water break again to try and kind of rejig things. We've 12 minutes played, so we have a little bit yet to go. But yeah, it's all been in Down's favour.
Ball breaking away there from Dervla Savage as she goes to play this ball infield. Aoife Keown trying to win it there. In there using the body well, Clara Griffin. Dervla McGee standing in the pocket as well, waiting for the charge to come forward. Lacey going to have a shot. Referee is calling it back though. The advantage of it was a free shot effectively for Sarah Lacey. But the only thing from a Waterford point of view, some of their shots, have led to a couple of bad wides.
They have, yeah. And even in the first half as well, we had some kind of balls dropping in short, which I suppose is something that they're going to have to address, I suppose, moving into the next 2 rounds. They still have Dublin and Cork to play. Yeah, they're kind of mistakes that you can't really forgive at this level. So I suppose, again, they're going to have to try and rectify that in the training ground this week.
Beck Carton with that free then puts that ball over the bar. So she's probably settled her recent jitters with regards to some of the shots at goal, and brings Waterford now on to 9 points, as it looks like we're going to have a change, and looks like Down's number 17 Cassie Fitzpatrick is coming on. I'd say Sarah Louise is going to be removed. That's Sarah Louise Graffin.
Again, Down are going to have to look to the rest of the championship as well. If it is just kind of a joint issue where we have a little bit of inflammation, we need to kind of look ahead to next week and the week after as well. So I suppose the physio will be trying to plead with management with regards to that.
Great take there by Beck Carton, who's really turning on some of the skills here, getting away from Paul O'Hagan, giving it out here to Sarah Lacey. Lacey cutting inside, goes left, goes right, lovely jink, this will be a fine score. Ball was heading to the top corner, and McGurty had to flick it away again.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't, I suppose, falter, or she's not too concerned under those high balls, which is exactly what you want from a goalkeeper, or nets as they call it up north.
So on the scoreboard, 12 points to 9. It got 9 points to 8, and then that lovely sideline cut from Saoirse McCartan made it the 11 points to 8, and a fine score from Amy McAleena and made it 12-8, and that point there from Beck Carton making 12-9, a chance to make it 12-10 now from that 45, and Beck Carton has got the eye back in again.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, she probably just needed a kind of a little bit of time to adjust to that win, see how she needed to adjust her strike, because again, we spoke about it. She isn't the type of player to kind of go missing in games like this.
So 12 points to 10 then it is. As ball breaks up there. Coming towards the water break now. Beck Carton has scored a 45 on the 45th minute as this is kicked forward. Sabelle Harney well able to play football as well as this ball goes forward in the direction with Ciara O'Sullivan, but it's cut out by Dervla McGee and the ball is knocked long. Back mine in the house at the moment. And Waterford taking this game on, and Harney. Sabelle seems to be thriving out there in the physical encounter, doesn't she?
She does, absolutely. And again, I suppose they're going to go into those tackles when they know they're going to be getting frees from them. I suppose the ref has been handing out a couple of frees, and no easy free either. It should be added. But this is an important one now for Beth Carton.
Down in 6 Mile Bridge, Kilkenny 18 points, Clare 11 points, latest score. Limerick and Wexford saw Limerick ahead, and the result was 3-16 to 1-5 in favour of Galway. More action to come tomorrow, of course, down in Páirc Uí Rinn. We'll have a live stream of that game. Cork playing Dublin, and Dublin manager Adrian O'Sullivan not too far away from us here, keeping an interested eye on both of these teams. Probably, these two teams will be teams he'd be targeting in some ways.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he doesn't know a huge pile about Down. So again, coming here today would have been a kind of a task to study, I suppose, today in terms of how Down are setting up kind of players to be massively concerned by, and I'm sure he's learned a lot today as well.
So free awarded as Katie Power, wearing number 19, it says here on social media, hits over Kilkenny's 19 point. Great to see Katie Power back.
It's super. She's one of kind of the hallmark names within the sport itself, so it's super to see her come back from that ACL injury.
Catherine McGurty then being urged by the Waterford crowd to get the puck out going, and she does. 12 points to 10 it is, and the ball breaks. Keown having a massive game in the middle of the field, dictating an awful lot there as that ball played forward. Looked like a foul committed there, but the player that's just in, Cassie Fitzpatrick, she was replaced Sarah Louise Graffin, who definitely picked up some kind of a leg injury, but the Saoirse McCartan got that fine sideline cut, taking the ball inside. Keely Corbett Barry drew the foul. Wasn't really a great foul by Keely Corbett Barry. It was right in front of Justin Heffernan. He was left in no doubt.
Absolutely, and it's a very scoreable free as well. So yeah, we'll see does she convert this, and I suppose it's a taste of her own medicine in terms of the physicality that Down have been bringing to this game. Waterford perhaps maybe getting a little bit frustrated towards the end of this third quarter, but yeah, we'll see. This might push that lead back to 3 points.
Don't know if she ended up in his black book there with Justin Heffernan, but have to say Sean Kernan himself, they won't be sending postcards to each other or Christmas cards. They've had a number of different chats at various stages.
Sean, I played with her myself at UL level within the Ashburn Cup, and she definitely is a leader. She's someone that kind of stands up and I suppose wants to be counted, so it's not surprising to kind of see her question and just want the best for Waterford Camogie.
No doubt about that, and Niamh Mallon puts that free over the bar. We haven't called a water break just yet. I'd say Justin Heffernan will be thinking about it. Yeah, he's calling for the ball now, is he? Now he's waiting, and a substitution going to be taken. So Vicky Faulkner has been replaced there as Justin Heffernan decides to call the water break, and he's asking Sean Kern to basically stop talking to him. Sean is not happy with
but isn't that what you want on your team, I suppose? Yeah. You want people questioning, you want people, I suppose, really trying to push the edges here. Management will be delighted with that. That's exactly kind of, I suppose, what they want from a player like Shona, and they probably want more players to kind of step up. Obviously, you don't want to cross the line and kind of get into the bad books, as you mentioned. But you can't, in these games, championship heat of battle, and a game that's so close as well, every kind of free counts, every block, every possible free that may or may not be awarded counts in these kind of games. So it's important. I think we're having a couple of more questions here with the Down goalkeeper. Perhaps with regards to kind of how long it took her to take that last free, but again, warm days, you don't mind it.
Still an interesting conversation going on. Catherine McGurty is being spoken to now by Justin Heffernan. I don't know if we can pick this up on camera. Just happening, well, she's just walked away from now at that moment in time. She's coming into shot now. She was having a chat with Justin Heffernan off camera. He's now having a chat with Derek Lyons, the Waterford manager, and they have an issue with something that went on there around that square ball or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There hasn't been any kind of systemic issue, I suppose, in terms of any kind of very obvious issues kind of going either way, but both sets of management seem to have a bit of an issue.
Yeah, like you were looking at notes here earlier on, like you were saying as regards, maybe if anything, Freeze seem to be heading the Dash's way more than Down's way.
Absolutely. We've had, I think, very few. How many? We've got 3 points from Freeze on either side, but I suppose that Waterford have been getting a lot of frees awarded to them, but I suppose from that middle section of the pitch where it is quite congested, I suppose Down are just getting in their way, sometimes illegally, I suppose. But yeah, I would have thought that the Waterford management would have been the side a little bit happier with the ref's performance. Again, nothing of significance, I suppose, has happened. No, bar maybe that point in the first half that was a little bit dubious. But other than that, it's been a fairly kind of uneventful match from a refereeing perspective.
Latest score here then after the water break, 13 points to 10 in favour of Down. It is Down in Clare. Kilkenny 21 points, Clare 13 points, and we'll just check in as well with the latest from Limerick and Wexford. That game started at 2:30, so coming up shortly towards half time. It's Limerick 1-5, Wexford Camogie 6 points. So, and earlier Galway defeated Westmeath by 3-16 to 1-5. Justin Heffernan blows the whistle then, waiting for the puck out to come from Brianna O'Regan, the De La Salle player. Of course, a strong netminder family are the O'Regans, of course. And her brother Ian involved here as a goalkeeping coach and everything with Brianna, so would have been putting her through her paces. Of course, Amanda would have played in the sticks with the men's team. But 13 points to 10 here. It continues to Down to lead, to who have lost Sarah Louise Graffin. It looked like she picked up the captain picked up a bit of a leg injury and a little bit of concern about it, but Cassie Fitzpatrick, her clubmate, is on for her, wearing number 17 as Malin, trying to get away there from Sabale Harney. That's been the battle of the day in here towards McCartan. McCartan, who got a fine sideline cut, put it over the bar. Ball is back out here towards McAleenan. Didn't really get a cut on it there, and it's cut out, and Waterford come charging forward now. 13-10 it remains. Our clock telling us that there's coming up on 19 minutes gone. There's going to be a bit of additional time with that stoppage for Sarah Louise Graffin. Ball played by Caldwell in towards Malin. Malin doesn't need a whole lot of space, and all of a sudden Malin is turning on the charm, and I'm just wondering there, looking at Sabale Harney, I just think that she's taken on water a little bit with regards to that, her legs seem to be tying up a little bit. Yeah,
we're definitely going to start to see that in this fourth quarter. People are going to start getting fatigued. They're going to start getting tired, and management's going to have to start making some strategic calls here, but it's a very important last quarter for these two teams.
Ball towards Rocca, looking to get away from Dervla McGee. Rocca going forward. McGee looks to have fouled her, and there was no way, if you're a full back, that Niamh Rockett was going to get in there to get a free shot at goal, and she took her down at, I suppose, the most opportune moment rather than it being inside the 20.
I suppose it's these kind of incidences that kind of have people calling for the likes of black cards and sin bins and whatnot, but I suppose Down are going to have no complaints over that. It had to be done. It's within the rules, but it's not, I suppose, but it's within the rules with regards to no sin bin and whatnot.
Free to come then from Beth Carton, and she's put that ball over the bar. Beth Carton with her 6th point of the game. She's 2 frees and a 45 in this second half to add to the 2 frees and point from play in the second. It comes with 10 minutes remaining. I'd imagine there's going to be closer to 15 minutes remaining here. Just to let you know that Shauna Fitzgerald, the Galtier, is on for Vicky Falconer. This ball played in behind. Here goes Rocket now, stretching out Dervla McGee, coming towards the end line. Rocket looking to get inside. McGee comes across, knocked it off of Niamh Rocket, and it's out for a 45. I have to agree with the umpire there. I thought she did get a flick off her shoulder. Rocket maybe didn't feel it, but it looked like the ball went the other way in comparison.
Yeah, I suppose from our angle here, it would be hard to see exactly what happened on the stick of Niamh Rocket. It's a poor puck out, gone over the sideline, I should say.
Ball doesn't work out from a Down point of view. They continue to lead here by 14 points to 11. Ball is going to be taken on by Beck Carton, dropping in. It's a dangerous ball. Rockets in there. McGurty took no chances and flicked that ball back out. Going to be still there with an opportunity for Waterford. Come attacking here with Sarah Lacey. She's been surrounded, but Lacey somehow gets up, but then thought she might have passed it illegally, but the referee said there was a push in the back, and a chance here for Beck Carton. Going to be a tight enough angle with a chance to narrow the gap to 2. as we head into the bit of a melting pot here.
Yeah, and like if we kind of have to look at this game in context as well. I suppose this is a group that Cork will most likely top, I suppose, if we're going historically and by the strength of the Cork setup. Dublin are also in this group too. I suppose this game is one that both sides would have been targeting early on. I suppose, so in terms of the context of the actual championship, in terms of where different teams might finish up, this is huge.
Beck Carton puts that ball over the bar, and all of a sudden Waterford narrowing the gap there, 14 points to 12. And it's now who steps up in the next couple of minutes here. Tell you that at half-time Limerick lead by 1-5 to 6 points. As this ball played forward now, trying to get in there and win it. Karen McMullen comes away from her. Paul O'Hagan a little bit quieter in this second half as the ball looks to be brought on by Abby Flynn, the De La Salle player, looking to get it across here to Ciara O'Sullivan. The Galtier putting the head down. Caldwell on her back, loses it. Ball is picked up by Rocket. Rocket to make it a 1-point game. Niamh Rocket.
Niamh Rocket's had a blistering second half. I suppose that's exactly what you look to from your captain, a leader, to really step up and drive this team forward, and she's been doing that herself the second half.
14 points to 13, and this is in the melting pot. What a game we have to start this championship here, streaming coverage. We expected a cracker, and it's now going to turn that way with about, as we said, 7 minutes remaining. But there's going to be a little bit longer, and maybe, just maybe, it's the senior team, the experience of the last few years could see you home.
Absolutely.
Rocket getting inside. Rocket puts it over the bar, and Niamh Rocket is making hay down here.
Is that her 6th point from play is what I have here. That's incredible shooting, given the amount of pressure that Down are putting on those Waterford forwards. The physicality that she's under. She's popped off 6 points from play.
Ball played over to the far side, and it goes over the head of Aoife Keown. And if I was saying that maybe Sabela Harney was taking on water down here, it looks like Down all of a sudden, just in the last couple of minutes, starting to doubt themselves a little bit.
A little bit, and we spoke about it at half time in terms of kind of the differences in levels that both of these teams are used to. You know, Waterford are used to playing the likes of Galway, Kilkenny, Cork. A really, really fast-paced, smart game, looking for kind of supported runners at all times and kind of looking out for the opposition support runners. Whereas I suppose Down are still getting used to this level, doing extremely well, might I add. But I suppose every so often it's just that split second that I suppose it takes a little bit longer for Down to kind of get moving when they have possession, I suppose. And that's kind of maybe what's making the difference down here.
Waterford have never led this game. Beck Carton is going to give them the opportunity. Ball is dropping in, but it's tailed out to the left and wide. Miss opportunity maybe in some ways.
Yeah, and even I'm sure she's going to rue her chances at the start of this half as well. I think it was three consecutive wides we had from the stick of Beth Carton. Very uncharacteristic. But hopefully now that she will have time to rectify that.
There is no doubt that Sarah Louise Graffin has been a bit of a loss from a Down point of view. Her presence there on that forward line just, gone off the field of play now is a little bit of a loss to some of the players in the inside forward line. And you look at Down now, how, they have 13 players behind the ball. They're leaving it maybe for Rogan and McAleenan to fight their ball out here at the moment.
Yeah, we haven't seen a huge amount of possession or Down possession in that half of the pitch since she's gone off. She's a massive loss in terms of her experience as well. But yeah, it's been all Waterford.
Ball is with Waterford then as they turn the ball around and try to win it there with Clara Griffin.
Again, a scoreable opportunity.
Yeah.
I think Shona Curran's coming over to strike it.
And Shona has had, I'd say, the gander up in some ways and will fancy this one.
It's interesting that Down haven't actually, I suppose, instructed anyone to come up and warm up.
Shona Curran knocks that ball in and it goes to the right and wide, and that's in a way 2 let-offs from a Waterford point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. Down, I suppose, will be delighted with that, but it's up to them now to kind of capitalise on those misses, get down the other end of the pitch, and I suppose pop that ball over the bar themselves. I think we have a Waterford introduction here in terms of a substitute.
A bit of fresh legs gone in there with Fiona Morrissey.
I'm not sure who came off. We don't have anyone yet.
The Ring Club coming in. As this ball by McGurty out over the line, straight into Derek Lyons' hand. And Clare, a little bit of a fight back from Clare, but Kilkenny leading there by 22 points to 16 into the closing stages. So Abby Flynn is the one that has been taken ashore. Waterford then, since the water break, definitely a different team. 4 points to 1 they lead since. As Shauna Curran, the Lismore player, then looking around for a short opportunity here, but is going to elect to have a swing at this. Doesn't really connect with it well, and it goes to her opposite number, Aoife Keown, playing it across here now to Paul O'Hagan. O'Hagan, diagonal ball across now, looking for Mallon. Mallon up alongside Sabale Harney, and you'd imagine Mallon might be able to get a bit of burst of pace here, but Harney, in fairness, does the cornerback's job well there, and holds her up and gets that ball one back in a Waterford direction. McAleen and trying to get across to disrupt this, and it's Keely Corbett-Barry looking to play it forward now. Carton looking to step in, but is hauled to the ground, and it's another long range opportunity. Heavy tackle there from Saoirse McCartan.
There's been a couple of those, and I know we kind of can excuse them as they're closer, as they are closer in towards the goals. But out there, I suppose, are you questioning, might there have been a kind of a more effective strategy?
Well, no disrespect to Saoirse, she got a fine sideline cut, but she's probably been sailing close to the wind on a couple of occasions, and probably should have got a yellow card before now.
No, again, we've mentioned it already. Down are very much playing on the edge, which I suppose is probably characteristic of their style of play. But yeah, on some occasions maybe have gone a little bit too far, and we're seeing some carries now being dished out.
As we have the break in play there, you get to see then maybe the down forwards. There's only 4 of them up there. There's 5 Waterford. So Down have withdrawn a player, trying to obviously play an extra player at the back with the fact that the wind is against them. But you can see it there all lined up at the moment. There's only 4 inside the 65 to 5 for Waterford. Shauna Curran then missed the one long range run already. The crowd go quiet. Respect for the kicker is respect for the free taker here. Shauna Curran, as she measured this right, ball drops in off the upright, ball bounces out, back to Carton. Carton with the shot over the bar from Beck Carton. Wide. McGurty is calling.
Is it
umpire, it's a 45. I thought he had actually put the hand up for a point. It's gone out for a 45. I don't know how they saw a touch on that, but Carton.
I thought it sailed over the bar.
Yeah, it looked like
not sailed, because it was pretty much directed. It was definitely an executed shot from Beth Carton. Again, another opportunity for Waterford.
They've had 4 chances at goals now to go a point up. This is probably the most clear-cut one.
Absolutely.
A minute of normal time remaining. Beth Carton comes up to this then with the strike, puts the ball up and over the bar, and Waterford lead for the first time in the game.
Yeah, it's surprising actually, but I suppose again indicative of how much kind of effort and fight Down have put into this game. Let's hope it doesn't slip away from them.
Ball is won. Rocket trying to get up there and win it. Keown is down on the ground. The Waterford crowd not happy. Great to hear a reaction from a crowd, isn't it?
It is. God, for long enough we were in stadiums where there was no one around. It really, really adds to the occasion. I think maybe the crowd were correct in that in that scenario. Another yellow card for Niamh Rocket. 6 points to her name today, and now a yellow card as well. But I'm sure she won't be too upset.
Yeah, well, she knew what she was doing. Keown was just lining herself up to launch that ball into her forwards, and Rocket disrupted the way it was. It has been a tough physical encounter, and I have to say, for the ladies' game of Camogie, it's great to see.
Oh, it really adds to the spectacle. I know, I suppose back as the 2018 All-Ireland final, it was pretty much a free-taking competition, and I know some of the Cork players would have actually used that term. So it's great to see that we kind of are allowing the game to flow that little bit more, and like it pays dividends to the amount of work that's going in on the S&C side of things.
Full time between Kilkenny and Clare. Clare got a bit of a fight back there, but Kilkenny have come out on top by 22 points to 16. It's here 15 points to 14. Down had led all the way, gone toe to toe, but Waterford have got back in front now with that 45 from Beck Carton. Ball looking to be played forward now, trying to be played by Dervla Savage, taken away from Keown, and it's Beck Carton who's covered some amount of ground. It's going to be between herself and Rocket, and maybe Shauna Curran. We're thinking of your player of the match, Lauren Guilfoyle. We'll be thinking of Aoife Keown. We'll be thinking of Paul O'Hagan, Niamh Mallon as well from a Down point of view. But there's been phenomenal performances out there, and what has been a huge day for Camogie on this weather. And driving forward now, McAleen looking to play this ball off. Ball to Mallon. Mallon gets a touch on it. Could continue on with Caldwell, but it's back there looking to hold this ball out. Orla Hickey looking to come out with a free out, says the referee. Challenge was a bit high.
Yeah, I think after today's game, Down are going to have a little look in terms of the amount of frees that they're giving away. I don't know, possibly are we seeing maybe a different standard of refereeing maybe in the lower divisions, and now that we're up in this senior division, Division 1, are things maybe ref somewhat differently? It might be something to look at, but I suppose they've given away a significant amount, especially in the second half.
So Brianna O'Regan with this opportunity. Don't bet against her putting this ball over the bar. It is still going to drop short. Top of the D. Ball is underneath Dervla McGee, but she misses it. The ball goes over her head and the ball breaks there. It's O'Hagan looking to get this ball off now. A draw really wouldn't suit either team in a way, because you want to be putting your markers down early on and getting points in this game. Ball is won, and a great take there by Lauren Clark. She's, as you said, some player that covers the amount of ground, a workhorse. Flicking the ball inside. Malin with an opportunity. Malin could give it inside to Cassie but she elects to go for the score off the upright, and would you believe it, spins back into play. Ball is there again, could be working out. McCartan is trying to get in there. Malin in a bit of space, will jink back on her left, settle on the ball, putting it up high, putting it over the bar, and that's a fine score from Niamh Malin. Never give up on that, and her legs seem run near at the moment, but that was a phenomenal effort by Niamh Malin.
Oh, there's the super score, and you can see she probably is cramping up. She's kind of waddling her way back into the middle of the pitch, but what a super score. Really needed that at that time. They haven't scored in a long time, but Beth Carton is on the opposite end of the pitch.
Carton looking to play this ball inside. Rocket is in here. Opportunity maybe. Caldwell gets back, flicks the ball away. Free-in, says the referee. Oh, I thought that was a bit harsh.
Yes, I'd love to see a replay here. It was absolutely. I'm not sure she went for Rocket. I think she was going for the ball.
Oh, if I was Derek Dunn, I'd like to see that back, Dave. If we could go back just again. That looked like two players going for a ball.
And moving from different directions as well. That's a huge call.
That is in the closing stages here of this game. Down get level, ball down the far end of the field. Rocket inside, the ball is left a bit short. Caldwell is getting back. And to me, it's a coming together of two players on the 20-metre line. Maybe he feels
I think if anyone, I suppose Rocket was the one moving across and moved into the tackle. I'm not sure. The down player kind of nearly stood her ground. She didn't actually.
But she had her back. She didn't see Niamh Rocket. Interesting call by Justin Heffernan.
Will he allow some time to get an equaliser? Should Beth pop this over the bar? And to be fair, you'd probably put your house on it at this point with regards to the distance. But I was just about to say that between Niamh Malin's last two scores, it all changed. She had them at 4 points up, and then Waterford have hit the ground running with huge scores, and now are back in front at 16 points to 15 with Beth Carton with that free. I'm not sure what the down players are protesting here. I'm not sure exactly why. Yellow card for the down keeper?
Yellow card for Catherine McGurty, yeah.
I'm not sure exactly why, but once Beth struck the free, the down defence protested to the referee, pointing to the ground. Perhaps they might have thought it was an illegal contact with the ball, too long of a contact on the hurley, perhaps.
Well, I would imagine Down were coming down. This was a game that were targeting, Waterford, because of Waterford's form in recent weeks. And, they've got maybe a little bit, spiky out there, you would say.
A little bit, I suppose. They kind of, as you mentioned earlier, they had a point to prove coming down here.
But we had interesting call. Oh, Justin Heffernan has made a call over there that Waterford are not overly happy with, and a chance to level it up here again.
I think we're glad of the popcorn we got given at half time there with the entertainment in the second half. Huge free now to take. Again, not with the aid of the wind. The wind has died somewhat, but still, it's a huge ask.
It's actually changed direction a little bit, so it's going to be in Niamh Malin's face when she hits this. This is probably her most difficult opportunity. This could be the last chance. This has been a right dinger. Niamh Malin right behind it all the way, dropping out to the right though, and dropping out to the right and wide.
I suppose it was their opportunity if they felt hard done by down here, and it just didn't work out.
Down have been flawless effectively in the second half. No wides, and haven't had a wide since, looking at my notes here, about the 13th minute of the game. And there it is, done and dusted. Down had the opportunity there just at the death, but on 66 minutes, Justin Heffernan calls it a day. And you'd have to say Waterford, after the water break, went to the well, no pun intended, and dug it out.
It was all Waterford there. I think Niamh Rockler, we're going to speak about player of the game, but she really dug it out there for Waterford. Down just didn't have a huge amount of possession. It was all down in this I suppose dressing room end of the pitch. Down didn't even have any opportunities to try and pop balls over. I suppose we had the equalising score here, and the second possibly equalising score. But other than that, we didn't have a huge amount of shots on target given the lack of possession.
You'd have to go back. I'm sure there'll be moments in the encounter. Waterford will probably feel, they had a few wides at the start of the second half. Ultimately, I think if you look at the whole second half, they were the better team, and they probably could have won by a little bit more. Down though, stay toe-to-toe with them. That spell though where Waterford, after the water break, Waterford got on top. I think they scored 4 points to no score, and that ultimately decides the game.
But I think the Waterford management are going to be delighted with a win, and in that fashion as well. They've had a difficult year so far. It's their first victory of this, I suppose, competitive season, but to win it in such fashion is going to bring a huge lift to that panel heading into training now Tuesday night ahead of the next round of games next weekend. That's going to just put a pep in their step. They're going to be delighted to get back out into the pitch. They're probably going to not celebrate tonight, but just kind of relax tonight, I suppose, with a smile on their face, having dug out that victory. And dug out is exactly what they did. As you mentioned, they started slowly in that first half, started slowly again at the start of the second half, but they stayed going. We spoke about experience at this level, and that's exactly what they showed. So I think the Waterford players, the Waterford management, I suppose it doesn't matter to them hugely, I suppose, in terms of the victory and how many points might have been on the scoreboard at the end of the day. To actually grind out a victory is going to be massive for panel morale, so they'll be absolutely thrilled with that. On the flip side for Down, it's probably a huge lesson for them, a huge step up, I suppose, as well from Division 2 and the intermediate grade, but they've proved here today they can mix it with the best of them. It'll be interesting to see now how they fare against the likes of Dublin, the likes of Cork. I suppose having to travel down here today was a huge task for them. I'm sure they would have they would prefer to be playing their games at home in Newry or Down. So it'll be interesting to see that does that have a factor to play for them. But a huge amount of learnings and lessons today for Down.
And when you look at it as well, though, if you go down a down opportunity, when they were on top in that first half, they got a penalty. Catherine McGurty came the full length of the field, and going into that first water break, having had that goal as well, that could have changed the whole face of the game as well, couldn't it? Absolutely,
and we've been talking about penalties the last week, I suppose, with regards to what happened at the Euros last week. It's a huge challenge, I suppose, on the very superficial level. It's you striking a ball with one person in the goals opposing you, but on top of that, you can never replicate the pressure that comes with that. I suppose knowing that all eyes are on you for that moment in time. I suppose they came early, so perhaps there wasn't as much pressure on the downkeeper McGorty, but it definitely will be something that she might take a look at herself and spend a little bit of time working on herself over the next couple of weeks.
Looking at it as well, though, from a Waterford point of view, I'm just looking at the scores here: 9 for Carton, 6 for Rocket. They really stepped up when it mattered.
Yeah, and that's what you need from your bigger players, I suppose. You don't want to rely on them, and I don't think that they did rely on them today. They stepped up, but they had a huge amount of support play from the likes of Abby Flynn, Sarah Lacey popping up with a score herself, Vicky Falconer. But again, even for some of the younger players in the squad, to kind of see firsthand the impact that those two players can have. And again, Beth Carton, we spoke about kind of the journey she went on today. She had a couple of wides to her name, but didn't let it phase her, and I suppose really came back strong in that second half.
Yeah, well, we'll have a reaction from both sides, and we'll also be talking to our player of the match. And I would think, I don't know about you, Lauren, but looking at a player at the match point of view, I think one lady that really stepped up and brought it to Down when it needed to be.
Yeah.
Was Niamh Rockett.
Absolutely, 6 points from play is a superb turnaround. I think 2 of those came in the first half, 4 in the second half. She really took it upon herself, definitely at the start of the second period, to really take it to Down. She was moved into that full forward line. Things weren't working out too well for her on that half forward line, but given the congestion in that first half, she did well to kind of still pick 2 points up. But yeah, played a real leader's role today, and I think that score, I think it might have been her 5th one out here. Yes. On the sideline was fantastic. I suppose we spoke about stylish play, and that's exactly what it is. She brought grit, she brought hardiness, and she brought pure kind of style to today's game. So I think there's no discussion needed. I don't think we don't have to go to a jury's vote on that one.
Yeah, I think the 2020 All-Star comes up with the Player of the Match award today, so we'll be hearing from Niamh Rockett and also from both camps, both managers, hopefully in the next couple of minutes. We're going to take a break for a moment, set up on the sideline and rejoin us shortly. But here for the moment it is Waterford who are victorious in this All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship Group 2 Round 1 encounter. They win here by 16 points to 15. What you see on camera is Niamh Rocket. Niamh, gorgeous day here in the southeast. You really had to fight hard for that one. Left it late, but got over the line.
Yeah, it's like Portugal down here today in Wells Park. The ground is like a rock, so it's a tough old battle. We always knew Down were going to make it into a battle. They're a super team, you know, and they've coming down here, nothing to lose, like, you know. So just glad to get the win in the end. It could have went either way in the end, really.
Looking at it, and if you don't mind me going back to it, because I think this is a big psychological lift to this crew of Waterford, because you know, the last few months have you know, been a little bit hard on you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Look, sure, when you get drawn at the start of the league against Superior and Cork, top 4 teams all the time, like, you know, they're super teams, and then we finished last in that group, and then we got an unlucky draw at the relegation. We didn't get a relegation semi-final, so got straight into relegation final. It was always going to be tough, especially when you're kind of coming away from 2 defeats. So it was kind of hard to kind of regroup ourselves, but we always took championship as a new kind of stance, and, you know, anything can happen in championship, so we kind of regrouped ourselves the last couple of weeks. Training's been going very well, so delighted with the performance.
Looking at it as well, take you back to the first half, it probably took you to the water break to maybe figure out Down a little bit. I think you kind of were a little bit regenerated after that, and probably something similar happened in the second half. You know, you definitely had better spells in the second quarters.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, we've done a bit of analysis on the teams, as all the teams do at the moment, like, you know, and we've had a look at Down's games, like, you know, and they're a super team, super fit, super players like Steve Mallon, you know, super player that has to be watched all the time. So we kind of adjusted things. I suppose that worked well for us. Previous games we probably weren't adjusting in the right time, so we adjusted things when needed to be done, and then I think it's really courageous performance from the girls. You know, they really dug it out in the end. When questions were asked, they kind of stood up as well.
Finally, to you, you know, you now have obviously Cork and Dublin. You probably owe Dublin one. That's probably a game you would be targeting then in some ways to finish second in this group.
Yeah, look.
And no disrespect to you, maybe you will take Cork as well.
You're writing us off already, Killian, are you? Just one bad league campaign and we're gone, is it? No, look, any teams, anything can happen on Championship Day. Like, Dublin will be super. After beating us in the relegation final, they're still up Division 1, like, you know, so it'll be a really tough battle. They're well organised, Cyril. Adrian O'Sullivan, they have their homework done on all the teams, like, you know, they're super. So just take one game at a time. I suppose you won't be looking too far ahead yet, and just glad to get over today and just regroup and recover and go for next week again, especially with the heat and stuff. It's tough on the body, so it's all about who can recover, I suppose, as well.
Well, we'll let you get in out of the sun. Well done, and congratulations being our player of the match today, and well done to Waterford.
Thanks a million, Killian.
Thanks indeed. Niamh Rocket giving us her views there on this encounter this afternoon. Going to grab your manager now and get the views from Derek Lyons. Derek, Niamh was just scolding me there that I might have been writing you off after one league campaign, but you must feel very good after that now, because a good battle.
I'm more happy for the girls, to be honest. I mean, like, we can take it on the chin on the line. I was alluding to it, I suppose, at the start. Like, this is a new season for us now, and it is hard. Like, there's no denying that we were on the back of 4 defeats. Like, that obviously has an impact on players. Even confident players lose a bit of confidence, and we needed a win, whatever way we dug it out. And I think, to be fair, the one thing that wasn't missing there today was that honesty of effort and endeavour. Like, we were poor in general play at times, not good enough at this level, and it won't be good enough against Dublin next week. But what was most pleasing is they never gave up. It was that never say die attitude from minute 1 all the way through, even with some setbacks and during the game at times 4 points down after 5 minutes in the second half. You kind of think, look, things are not going to with you. The wind disappeared. But yeah, look, I mean, we can't question, and we won't question the honesty in the group. Like, things weren't going well in terms of their touch and stuff, but I'm putting that down to lack of confidence. So hopefully the win today, like, will put us on the trail now that we wanted to be on at the start of the year.
Looking at it as well, you know, you kind of got over that first quarter blip, Derek, and then, you know, I think you were very much in that game from there on in ultimately.
Yeah, and look, if you reflect on the game, we'd be very disappointed with our scoring return in the first quarter. Like, I mean, we had a lot of possession, easy possession. I think we had at least 4 bad wides, like either from frees or from open play. That wouldn't be good enough, and they're not good enough, and the girls know that. And that's where we were, I suppose, in the last 3 or 4 games, with those little things going against us. And hopefully now, like, with a little bit of refining on those sort of things, that we might improve on those areas, because they're not good enough. I mean, the honesty is there in abundance. As I said, you won't win matches with honesty and honesty alone. We have to have the skills to match it. Like, so that's probably the disappointing part of the game for us today, that we had the game in our control probably at times in the first half particularly, and we gave energy and oxygen to Down to play their game here today. And fair play to them, they played a fantastic game against us, to be honest with you. Never say die attitude again, and look, we wish them well in the rest of the championship. We hope they do well in the other games, needless to say.
But my other thing coming back to you, you must be quite happy, Derek, when it got a little bit spiky and it was getting physical out there. Some of your girls stood up big time into the counter, and some of your leaders really shunned.
Yeah, no, look, and that's what you have when you have leaders. In fairness, I thought a couple of girls in the defence, actually throughout the game, our defence was pretty good. I think Chevelle Harney did a massive job on their ace player, to be fair, was assigned that role and did it to the best of her ability, and I think she might have scored a point from play or something. So, and then further out the field, you know, you players like even experiences of Lorraine back in the team. Lorraine Bray was a huge asset to us, and we moved her to midfield there. That gave us a little bit of injection in the middle of the field with 10 minutes to go that we needed. And obviously Bet, like, she'll be disappointed with some of her misses, but her energy and her effort there for the last 20 minutes was it was obscene. I thought it was really encouraging. And of course our captain stood up then as well today. To be fair to her, she'd be the first to say it, she hasn't been humming in games, but today I thought she really put herself about there at times, and won us some really good frees, and there was a spell where she got a few scores inside, and that worked for us, and look, she stood up, and that's what you need leaders, and when things are down, it's the leaders that will drive the performance. And to be fair to them all today, collectively, I thought Ciara Sullivan out around the middle was exceptional for us again on that dirty ball. So, like, as I said, it was all that honesty and effort. It's just the finishing. We had all that honesty and effort at times, and going up then and missing an easy score. That's what's frustrating with this team. And I think if you do that analysis afterwards, you'll probably reflect on that. That's what we'll be saying to ourselves. If we can get that right, we're probably a 6 or 7 point better team than what we were today, and we'll have to get it right for the next couple of games, you know.
But it's still, though, a little bit of positivity about this crew, Derek, that'll keep you going now for the next week.
Yeah, look, I suppose I'm not going to say any other way. If we'd lost today, like, I mean, obviously you could say it's all over for us, like, you know. I was just blackguarding the lads. If we'd lost today, my contract would have expired. Probably would have already expired. I mightn't be here talking to you, to be honest with you. And it's not through anyone's fault, and it's just like this team, I'm going to keep saying it, they're not doing a whole lot wrong. It's just things haven't gone our way. I said this to you after probably the Tip game, and we had 2 hard games against Cork and Tip and to start with, and then we were down 4 or 5 key players against Limerick. I'm not looking for excuses. I wouldn't be giving excuses, but I think the team has been dealt some hard cards so far, and confidence then came down with that. But I'm just glad to see that they've worked so hard in the past 3 weeks particularly, and that they've now got the rewards. They've got a win, the monkey's off the back, and hopefully we can build on that now going forward, like, you know.
Well, you laid down a little bit of a marker here today, Derek, and letting everybody else know that Waterford haven't gone away. So fair play to you on the victory.
Thanks very much for that.
Derek Lyons there, giving us his views and honest opinion on this performance here today, which has obviously seen Waterford come out on top by just a point. We're going to take a quick break. Rejoin us shortly. And you're welcome back here to Walsh Park to wrap things up. Lauren, we saw a cracking encounter, our first stream of this year's championship, and Waterford left it late, but a good psychological boost for them.
Absolutely. We spoke about it at the end of the commentary there with regards to kind of what this will mean to that group of Waterford players. It's their first win of the season so far. They didn't pick up a victory in the league. They got relegated in the league. They didn't pick up a victory in the Munster Championship, and they're after picking up a victory here. And I think if you were to offer the management kind of a 6 or 7 point handy win versus kind of one that they really had to dig out and go to the well to get, they would have picked that option. It's going to bring a huge boost into training for the next week, and I think they have Dublin to play next week, so it's kind of another fixture where they can really kind of get something out of it. So they're going to be aiming to carry that momentum through. They didn't seem to pick up any injuries, which is kind of a positive with this kind of championship structure where it's quite condensed, and that'll be something that management will be hoping to kind of keep on top of. But a huge win for them today.
You could see maybe, and I know Derek Lyons, he might have been laughing with us in some ways, that he felt maybe his time could have been up here if they had lost that game, but you could see there was a little sense of relief, but maybe in some ways as well probably an element of him being glad that these girls actually played the game that he knows they can play.
Absolutely, like it was it wasn't an unstylish game. I suppose it wasn't one that was kind of marred by a huge amount of frees. It was a game won kind of on scores from play, and a huge amount of scores from play from our player of the match, Niamh Rockett. But yeah, I think this is it was a victory that I suppose that they needed from a mindset perspective. And I know we've kind of talked about that quite a bit, but it was one as well that they kind of really showed their experience. We spoke about Down and maybe their lack of experience in these really kind of high pressure games, but it was a game that maybe other teams might kind of have dragged away with towards the end of that third quarter. Down really kind of stepped it up in that third quarter. Waterford had a couple of wides, but it really showed their resilience, I suppose. Towards the end of that third quarter and into the fourth, they had a couple of wides, but they pushed on. Some of their bigger players led from the front, and it really is characteristic of a team that I suppose that kind of has a good environment around them. It's quite supportive. Some management might start to pull girls aside towards towards maybe that third quarter and start pulling them ashore, bring in some new legs, but the management stuck by their team, and it paid dividends for them.
I know you had mentioned there that maybe a 6-7 point victory, one that they had to fight for them, probably will earn them a little bit going forward in some ways, because I just think as a collective and everything like that they worked well. But if you were to break down this whole game, he did mention there about chances. You're probably looking at Down nearly took every chance apart from the penalty that they had, and Waterford probably didn't take everything that they did. So maybe then in the scheme of things, Waterford were probably a 6 to 7 point better team.
Yeah, and probably a characteristic of the championship or the season so far, in that we just don't have those kind of couple of weeks where you can work on those kind of mechanical things, I suppose, those different particular skill sets, because you're so focused on the next game, because the next game is happening in a week or two's time. But yeah, like we saw, Waterford had a huge number of wides, a huge number of balls dropping short. On the flip side, Down had very little possession, but with the possession that they had, most often than not, it was capitalised. And I think you had a point there might have been maybe one wide in the second half for Down. So when they got the ball in possession in front of the goals, they more often than not made it count, and that's something that I think going into the next week's block of training, Waterford are going to have to probably address. And I suppose working on your shooting probably isn't going to be too hectic on the legs, and that's exactly what they'll want on Tuesday evening after kind of playing in this heat. Like it's sweltering. I'm sweating here just standing. Niamh Rockett spoke about it there as she came off. It was like one of the hottest days she'd played in. So yeah, like credit to the girls for giving us a hugely entertaining game in that 27-degree heat, I'd say, at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as a physio you'd be kind of suggesting a cool bath or into the sea or something like that with somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. I said it to Niamh there, get over to Tremor or Clonea as soon as you can, get some recovery into the legs ahead of next weekend.
Yeah, well, that'll be something to look forward to. Just a word for Down then. They came here, showed very little respect for Waterford, took the game to them, were quite physical in their encounter. Definitely second half though, I think they started to flag a little bit. Sarah Louise Graffin, I think a little bit of a loss. Lorraine Bray to the middle of the field, definitely tightened up the middle, and they just started to struggle to get the ball moving, but they've shown that they can live in the senior game.
And how fantastic is it for the game of Camogie to see Down stepping up to that senior grade? We've seen Westmeath in the last couple of years, stepping up to that level. Like we're seeing that gap, I suppose, close over the last number of years, and it's super to see a team like Down come down here and really be majorly competitive with Waterford today. And you know, we've mentioned some of the girls. Niamh Mallon, I suppose, is probably the standout name, and that's a girl that Waterford had done a huge amount of homework on. Circa McCartan, I suppose, that sideline cut there, hopefully we can kind of get a clip out of that. It was superb. But all over the pitch, I think their defence really got on top and tried to kind of negate Waterford's running style in that first half, and they did do just that. I suppose legs probably got to the better of them in the second half as well as the wind. But yeah, Down are definitely kind of a player to be concerned by if you're Dublin or Cork watching today.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Cork up next for them. Dublin, of course, taking on Waterford. Of course, Dublin have Cork to face tomorrow. That game, not writing off anyone against Cork or anything like that, but you fancy Cork are going to be topping that group. It's the fight now for second place, and Dublin know they're probably going to be, don't want to preempt it, but they're probably going to come off a loss against Cork and then be facing a resurgent Waterford team, you know, who might have how would you put it, little bit of a lesson to hand back to Dublin after losing in the relegation match. So that game could be interesting next weekend.
Yeah, I think it would be naive to kind of assume that managements are just looking at games in isolation. They're absolutely going to be looking at where games are in context for the rest of the championship. And I suppose Dublin playing Cork tomorrow, you know, like if kind of history was to repeat itself, or if we were to go off history, you know, that most likely is a Cork victory, especially because it's in Cork as well, you know. But I suppose looking ahead, you know, I presume Dublin will just want to get through that, get a decent score on the board if scoring difference was to potentially come into it at some point, pick up no injuries, build, kind of take the positives from that into the following two games that they'd be hoping to get an outcome out of.
Yeah, and that's probably the two games that they ultimately will target to try and get that quarter-final place for themselves in the next few weeks. But it's up and running anyway. We've already had victories today for Galway. They've defeated Westmeath by 3-16 to 1-5. Kilkenny 22 points of 16 victors over Clare. And if social media and technology allows me, I should be able to update you then on the last game, which was Limerick and Wexford. That game was a 2:30 throw-in. It should just be about done, I would say. And at the moment, Limerick, with the latest score I had, was 112 to 110. That's a few minutes ago, so maybe it is a full-time score at this point in time. So 112 to 110, I had Limerick in front there in the last few minutes of that. So those are the victories. And Waterford then, I suppose, putting the bad league campaign behind them, if you want to call it that, have come out on top here by a point. 16 points to 15. With my thanks to Lauren Guilfoyle, to Luke Owen and to Dave in the background. Hope you've enjoyed our first streaming championship coverage of the weekend. Don't forget, it's off to Páirc Uí Rinn tomorrow, where Dublin are the visitors to take on Cork. That game coming to you from 1:45. So if you are backing around and watching action, make sure you're tuned in for that. Again, with thanks to the crew here, it's good luck to you.